Hey, Happy New Year. So this is my first video of this year, a little video memo, and a topic I thought I'd cover today is value in follow-up. And in providing value, providing things that are useful to your prospects, to your clients. I had a very nice compliment just this last week from a prospective client that I've been reaching out to for some time, and I'm sure we'll get to the end of that road and we'll do our first project together, but she said, it's nice that you provide value within your follow-ups. Most people do not, and it's more conducive to do so. Well done. And then I wrote back and I was like, yeah, sometimes it really stretches the creative thinking to what can I do to make what I'm saying, put myself in that person's shoes and actually give something where if they received it, they're like, that was good, that's nice, okay, this helps me. Right? And so she wrote back again and says, it does stretch creative thinking. I have to stretch every day in that arena. But I'm convinced that the more you're stretched creatively, the cooler of a human you are. So I like that. I thought that was pretty cool, and I agree. I think the more you can stretch yourself in the creative way of how can I be useful, how can I be valuable to another, it really you become a cooler human being because you're reaching out and you're trying to be useful. So I thought I'd cover just a few different points on things that I've found that are useful to others and can be in marketing and in sales. There are some specific points where you can be more useful than not. My CEO and I did an exercise, I think back in 2016. We were both in the office over the Christmas holiday and we were just doing some extra work. And we listened, he had about 50 voicemails stacked up, and we didn't listen to all of them through, but we listened to at least the first few seconds of all of them. And of the 50, there were only 2 that really were any good at all. And one of them he called back. And the other 48 approximately were just terrible. It would have been better not to leave them at all because of the way what was expressed, the attitude. It was just so. I'll cover a couple of these points, and that's specifically for sales. There's a crossover in marketing that you can apply. You can think with and apply, but you'll get the idea. Some ways to be useful are these, right? So whether it's on a voicemail, an email, a video memo, a PDF, a pitch, a document, relevant strategic ideas, right? And so really this requires, obviously you have general information, you have general documentation, you have your website, you have different pitch decks and things like this, and these are very general things, but the more they can be made specific to a prospect, whether you send the deck and then follow it up, have the salesperson follow it up with a voicemail that really, or a conversation, that really paints the picture as to why it's relevant to them, so that when the person who receives it, they're sitting there at their computer and they're going to read this thing, right? And so you want to number one, it helps so they don't have to do a bunch of work translating how does this work for me, but they have someone that just paints that picture on the canvas, so they go, I get it. This is relevant to me, and if we implemented this would fit these strategies and could actually do something. So that's a way to be useful. Another one, compelling reasons that are relevant to them. So this has to do with selling, but it should be built into marketing. Any sort of marketing content should have salesmanship built in, right? Because the person, what you don't want to do, and listed under things that are not helpful that I have here, is a wall of product information. Don't do that to your prospects. There might be specific times when that's okay, but by and large, it's not. Any sort of product information should have built into it compellingness, a compulsion, right? Something that compels, something that goes, because again, it's the relevancy. You want it, that prospect, whoever's watching this thing or absorbing your content or whatever, you want them to go, okay, yeah, this has to do with me. That makes sense. I can see how this fits what we do or how I'm thinking or what our strategies are going to be. So you want compelling reasons built in that are relevant to them. Another very helpful thing, examples of work to help them in a decision. And this often takes the form of case studies, right? A prospect wants to, they're at the point, they're moving down the line, they've been compelled, they have some ideas as to how this could actually be strategic for them. Many prospects want to know have you helped someone like me? And did it help them? And they want to know that. They want to know, is this going to work for me? Right? Especially as the purchase gets larger and larger and the commitment gets more and more serious, they want to know. So helpful content is case study type material. Yeah, this client of ours, they bought this and it worked out well, and they're rolling and they did great. And they're just like you, so it'll be the same for you. You go, and they can look over a case study and go, this is relevant to me, and I can see that, right? Another one, and this can be overused. This is one that can be kind of weak also, are specials, incentives, things like that. But it can be helpful because you might reach the right prospect at the right time and they may go, hey, that's relevant to me right now. And that could help me right now. God, I'm glad he wrote right now. Let me write him back, or let me call, and I'll take advantage of this thing, right? So it could be helpful, could be useful. And then a final point, it's a short list of helpful things. Friendliness, aliveness, humor, something that might spark or inspire or motivate, right? I mean, the things we see on Facebook with the little blurbs, they have inspirational words. That can be helpful. I mean, it's a small thing, and I'm not saying create a big Facebook thread on your email, but even in your voicemails, being alive, being friendly, something where they're listening to the 5th voicemail this morning, and your voice perks them up, acts like a small cup of coffee or something like that, and they go, huh. Or you encourage them, you say, hey, I hope we get to work together, but either way, I hope you're kicking butt to start your week, and go get them, go get them. I love what you guys do, and I love this product that I saw on your site, and I think that should be just blasted out into the market. What you guys do is awesome. Go get them, right? That sort of thing. That's helpful to people. Now, a couple things that are not helpful. Now, this specifically applies to sales. Your phone number is not helpful. Yes, leave your phone number, but leave it at the end. Never. There, more than half of these 50 voicemails that my CEO listened to began with their phone number. Hi, Robert. My number is 473, and it's like, oh my God, delete. Don't care what your phone number is at all. The only time that a person cares about your phone number is if they've been compelled to the point where they're interested in talking to you. So it comes at the end. I can't even fathom why someone would lead with their phone number unless they're feeling so apathetic and down about what they're doing that they don't want to sell you anyway. And so that really leads nowhere. So that's specifically for sales. But keep it in mind. See if there's any carryover to marketing. Okay, another unhelpful, okay, numbness, apathy, being too quiet. This specifically applies to sales again, but it can carry over to marketing because you can look at the language you're using to communicate to prospects. Is it like dead? Is it solid? Is it rigid? Is it just sort of you're reading it and you sort of like start to fall asleep? Start to feel numb yourself, right? It's not to be all bubbly and like crazy or anything like that, but add life to the things you create. Make sure that, you're adding life to something. I mentioned this one before, unhelpful, a wall of product information. Just sending a bunch of big product data can be helpful, tiny bit towards the decision-making process. But the thing is that if the prospect you're reaching out to is someone who should be a client, then the product information is a little superfluous. It's not important. What's important is that they understand how it's going to help them. And you might think, well, product information can help with that. Yeah, it can, but it needs to be, it's like the carrier wave, your product information, the carrier wave of your product information needs to be the compelling, life-giving essence of you, of what the value is, of what the future could hold, of what this could mean to them. Right? That's the carrier wave. So everything, any sort of product data, it needs to be attached to the carrier wave of your life, your livingness. And here's a big one, and then I'll finish with this. A website that doesn't guide the prospect. This is deadly, and it's everywhere. Websites are built a certain way these days. That's fine. It's not that websites are necessarily built wrong, but you have to pay attention to the content. Right on the front page, where are they going to go? Do they know where to go? Does a prospect know where to go? Is the website helping them? Is your website just a place where you put all of the data about your products and services and about us and and et cetera, et cetera? And specifically for you, like marketers in very, very large companies, you may not find who, like if you don't have direct control over the website. Anyway, this is a bigger thing. This is a bigger topic, but pay attention to that, because especially you'll notice for very large companies that have a lot of products and services, websites are just, they have to exist, but they're not useful to anyone for any reason. No one can go on to a website for almost all very large companies and find anything that's going to help them do anything, really. There's not enough guidance. So as your company is growing, right, let's say you're 5 million, you're 25 million, you're 50 million, you're 100 million, really pay attention. Our prospects are going to come here, and what is their experience going to be? Are they going to be guided, right? Or are they just going to hit up against a wall of, here's our passion and excellence, and now look at our product page and our services page, and it's going to give you a general, very vague outline of everything, and you're not really going to be able to find out what you need to move to the next step. Anyway, there's just a few different things in terms of being useful, being helpful, as opposed to not being useful and not being helpful. There's a lot of content for sales, but there's a lot of carryover for marketing as well, so hope that helps.